How are you doing, folks? Well, it is once again end float car review time, and today we are looking at the third generation Skoda Fabia hatchback. This was the replacement in 2001 for the Skoda Felicia, which is a kind of an odd name, to be honest with you. But we're now on the third generation being this car, and came out in 2014. This particular car is a 2015 example, but pre-facelift. This particular car has a 1 litre 3-cylinder MPI engine and is the base level spec. That particular engine puts out a whopping 60 horsepower of raw German fury. So let's have a look around it. So this particular car is based on the Volkswagen Polo. So it would share the same running gear, same gearbox, same basic engine lineup, and internal space is more or less the same. So it is a compact car and should be treated as such. It's not a big car, and it's not claiming to be either, for that matter, but yet it's still 5-door, and even the entry-level spec still has some nice additional features. So I think it's quite a smart looking machine. Now, this is the pre-facelift model. 2018 saw a facelift of the third generation, so we're still on the third generation. So this is still essentially a current model, but the facelift model did make a few changes just to kind of bring it up to modern standards and specs. The entry-level spec includes steel wheels, non-body coloured mirrors, non-body coloured door handles, and there's keep-fit windows as well too. So windy up windows in the front. You can see it's definitely very Volkswagen Polo though, really, when you look at it, especially for those of you who might be familiar with the Volkswagen Polo. But one of the little things I do like is the Swiss Army key. So let's have a listen to that rotty beast of a 1 litre 3-cylinder engine. Put your foot on the clutch. We'll try that again. Now it'll start. I'm going to be honest straight away, that is a horrible sounding engine. It really is. And to be honest with you, I don't like 3-cylinder engines at the best of times, but as far as 3-cylinder engines go, God almighty. Now, it's a sea of black plastic in here. Again, bearing in mind it is a, it's an economy car, it's a cheaper version of the Polo, really. But you still get some decent features. You're not going to get air conditioning or anything like that, but you have ABS, you have anti-skid protection, nice little digital display on the dash. That's basically it, to be honest with you. And just having a look in the back, you've obviously got your ISOFIX points there, standard equipment on any car nowadays, and it's reasonably okay for space. Now, it's not great, to be honest with you. I'm 6'2", so I'm quite tall, and to tell you the truth now, the steering wheel is adjusted to the top of its height. It does actually have a height adjustable steering wheel, but even at its top setting, it's a little bit cramped in here now, to be honest with you. It's alright as a city car, but the I just wish the seat would go back maybe a couple of clicks, and it would make for a much more comfortable driving position for me. Also, the steering wheel seems enormous. Now I'm going to hop into the back here. We're going to have a look and see how the space is looking there. And to be honest with you, I'm suitably impressed. I suppose the thing about it is that the trade-off is the fact that the seat doesn't go that much further back. But and my knees are just in the back seat, but I wouldn't go so far as to say they're giving the driver a back massage. I mean, it's not quite that bad, but it's for a short journey, again, it's absolutely fine. Or for a person who's not as tall as I am, it's okay. So let's say, for example, the usual situation is if I was this tall, well, I am this tall, but if I was going for a long journey in this car, I'd sit behind the passenger seat and ask the passenger to move the seat a little bit forward. Situation is equally as good as far as the headroom is concerned. I mean, there's enough room there for me. The head restraint comes up and provides a nice little bit of support there as well too. So not too bad really. Let's have a look at the boot. As seems to be standard equipment on more and more cars these days, electric boot release. You barely have to touch it and boot opens, revealing an adequate boot. Let's have a look and see what we're getting. Oh, we have a spare wheel. Well done, Volkswagen. That is a real bugbear of mine when you don't get a spare wheel. And not only is it a spare wheel, it seems to be a full-size spare wheel. Although you probably take it out, it's still a wheelbarrow wheel. But that's definitely a vast improvement. Another nice little design feature they included here was this little grab handle for pulling the boot down. So I don't need it, but smaller people might. Closes with a reassuring clunk. Finally, I want to have a look at the engine. Now, for whatever reason, I do not understand it. VW, Skoda, whatever you want to call them. Put the bonnet release over here. Now it ticks over quietly enough when you have the when it's idling. Not a car you want to rev. Old school. There it is, rattling away there. Like you have an ABS pump over there as well. But 3 cylinders, God, I really hate 3-cylinder engines, I just do. But let's get it out for a drive anyway and we'll have a look and see how it goes. Okay, this car is definitely made for somebody much smaller than me, but let's take it out and give it a burn anyway. And that one cylinder, that 1 litre 3-cylinder engine, 3 cylinders. Even saying it just makes my skin itch. It's awful, and it's idling there quietly, but it still just has that kind of noise to it, like that you just. Oh. Anyway, look, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So let's go out and give it a burn. It might surprise me. The other engines available in this particular car are the 1 litre and 1.2 TSI engines. They're the turbocharged versions, both offering 3 cylinders as well too. So you're not getting 4 cylinders in this car, folks, I'm sorry to say. But apparently the turbo makes all the difference. But okay. It's nippy enough, to be fair to it. I mean, for 60 horsepower. Now, the ride isn't what I would call refined, but it's not bad now, you know. There's a little bit of body roll there, but nothing that I would kind of say is terminal. Brakes pull you up all right. You do feel yourself kind of wringing the engine out a little bit just to get that power out of it. But one of the things that I find, and it's a strange thing to say, but one of the things I'm finding that actually makes up for the engine a little bit is that gear change is lovely. It really is. It slots into gear beautifully. And that's the thing that I find. Fiat's, for example, the Fiat Punto had the most horrible gear shift. But this actually has a really, really nice gear shift. And I have to say, it's a pleasure to change gears in. The seats are quite comfortable as well too. You know, I mean, it's firm but yet reasonably supportive. As I said, I would like if it just moved back a little bit further. And it doesn't feel like a big car on the road, you know. I mean, you get some small cars that actually feel like a big car. It feels quite sure-footed. As if the suspension is a good quality suspension, you know. I mean, and I would expect that from a brand such as VW. The clutch is a little jerky. especially downshifting, it just seems to... You'd want to come off the clutch quite gently, even downshifting. But that's just one of those things. This is the first time I've driven this car, and it's something you just get used to. It feels like the engine's just kind of shifting back and forth in its mounts as you change gears, which, well, it is doing, but you know what I mean, like you can kind of feel it that bit more. Brakes pull you up nicely there as well too. So that's but now I'm in third gear trying to pull away from low RPM, and there's not much there. You know, realistically you'd want to be kind of getting into second gear, but there again, it's a 1 litre engine. It's not a big engine. But you have to remember, Skoda are putting 1 litre engines into things like the Octavia. You know, it's crazy in actual fact. Now that's a TFSI engine, you know, I mean, it's not the same engine. I mean, this is a 1 litre MPI, so this is bog standard basic spec. It's probably fairly old school tech in this engine. Okay, let's open the taps. There's 100k now, and we even had a slight slope, but God, the noise of that engine is horrible. Ugh. Three cylinders. No. Why not just stick a 2-stroke engine and be done with it? And then you have the real ding 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 noise. I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. It's economizing for the sake of economizing. There is a space for my clutch foot. It's not wide enough for my big feet. I'd have to pay ground rent on my feet. So yeah, it's not really very wide. You know, I mean the leg room here is it's at a premium, but it's okay though, you know. I mean, I'm not uncomfortable as such, you know. I feel a little bit penned in, I suppose is what I would say, but I'm not uncomfortable, so to speak. Like the Nissan Micra, the K12 Nissan Micra, for example, would have more room inside. Now I did a review of one of them a little while ago, which I will link to in the description. A great car for the money, I have to say. There's a chap driving by in a Polo. Happy out. You do need to spin up the engine in this. Like, there's 5,000 RPM, you know. I mean, you kind of feel like you have to do that to get the power out of it. And okay, fair enough. It'll do it. It'll spin up to 6,000 RPM, and you know, all the power is up high. It's reasonably torquey, I have to say. I'm quite surprised at just how torquey the engine is in this. It actually now, as I said, it's not gonna, you know, it doesn't pull like a train, but it you know, it's comfortable enough. You'll have to excuse me for not having washed this car or anything before taking it out for a review. I literally, it's my friend's car, and she just arrived, and I basically jumped into it and said, right, I'm taking this car for a review. And I kind of wanted to take it for a spin anyway and see what it's like. So you're kind of really joining me on my first actual drive of one of these particular shape Skoda Fabias. You know, she's not a bad little car though, you know. I mean, it really isn't. It's not like the only, like, it's like any other car. It's got its good points and its bad points. It does handle really well. I mean, it's actually, you know, it is that, I'm just going back to it now, but that sure-footedness, we're getting back onto the twisty stuff again here now, and it's got a certain sure-footedness that, to be honest with you, it instills you with a lot of confidence. You wouldn't need to worry too much about torque steer now, that much I would tell you. I want to back off from the Jeep that's in front because I want to throw it into this little corner that's up ahead. Just see how it goes. Like, he's crawling around it now. He's in an Isuzu pickup. It does handle well. I'll give it that much. It actually does. The steering, it's electrical power steering. You're going to get electrical power steering in any modern hatchback of this size nowadays. We're gone away from hydraulic power steering altogether now. And as far as electrical power steering goes, it's got the same feedback and feel as any other kind of electrical power steering system in a kind of a cheaper sort of hatchback. So don't be expecting amazing things, but it's adequate. The steering is light. It's always light. There's very little by way of feedback in it, but it's not bad. It really isn't. All over the whole package. Now, this road is in bits that I'm driving on now, and I'm not getting the fillings rattled out of my head. I haven't actually got any fillings, but if I did, they wouldn't be getting rattled out of my head. Remember to brush your teeth, kids. There's one very important thing missing on this car, and that's an end float sticker. It'll be getting one in the back window when we get back. The owner doesn't know it yet, of course. I haven't told her, but that's what's going to be happening. She'll see it when she gets back to her car and looks at the back door. It is a nice little car, to be honest with you. It is a nice little car. I don't like that engine, to be honest with you, only for the noise of it. If it was a 4-cylinder engine and it made a proper noise, I'd say, yeah, absolutely fine. It's just a three-cylinder noise. It's just nasty. But it's not rattling the car to death or anything like that. It's just a noise. One of the other things I actually like about this car as well too, and I didn't really say much about it, my own personal opinion is, it's actually quite a smart looking car. I think it's actually a nice looking car. It does look well. And that is something that I consider when I'm buying a car, not everybody does. Personally, I can't see why anybody would buy a Suzuki Ignis. They're an awful looking thing. But this is a nice looking hill. And yeah, to be honest with you, I'm suitably impressed. I didn't warm to that engine, but there was a lot to it that more than made up for it. No, you're not getting reversing beepers in an entry-level spec car. Come off it now. But you do get some other nice little additional bits and pieces. I noticed it's got a USB port and auxiliary socket down the bottom as well too there for the stereo, which is it's definitely a big plus. I do not see a CD player, but I haven't listened to a CD in I don't know how long, so the USB and auxiliary is really what you would want. There even seems to be an SD card slot there as well too. Yeah, I didn't try out the stereo in this whatsoever. Judging by the size of the speakers, I can't imagine it being amazing, but there isn't any speakers in the back either. So yeah, I would say it does the trick, but that's about it. Anyway, look at folks, we'll leave it there. So thanks very much for watching, and please do hit that subscribe button before you go, and there'll be plenty more car reviews on the way in the near future, and I'll chat to you soon. Thanks for watching.